There was more news this week on the situation involving WWE telling its talent that they would need to shut down or surrender control of their Twitch accounts. This was a big story about a month ago. Vince McMahon had supposedly imposed a deadline by which they would have to do it. I thought that deadline was early in October, but apparently it was this past week because there were a whole bunch of stars who tearfully said goodbye this week to their followers, at least temporarily. And it was very obvious that they were doing so against their own will. This was not something they wanted to do. They were very upset. They were very sad. PW Insider reported that a lot of the talents recently met face-to-face with Vince McMahon to try to talk him out of this and try to argue why this was a bad idea. But obviously, given what happened here, whatever they tried to do, it did not change his mind. It did not work. AJ Styles, right? He's known for going on his Twitch. Before it was Mixer, now it's Twitch. Going on his Twitch, sometimes with his son, and streaming and answering Q&A and playing games. He wrote this to his community on Twitch. Said, I want to thank all of you for the great memories on Mixer and Twitch. I will cherish these memories, and I love every one of you that have made this possible and supported me. As many of you know, WWE is making changes that involve streaming. We will see what the future holds in that regard. With that being said, I will be suspending Styles Clash stream. This is not goodbye, but this is see you sometime in the future. We will leave Discord open, but it will not be monitored as we will be making changes. Again, this is not the end. It is just a pause. Thank you again for your support. And you know what's telling about that statement? I did hear that Vince McMahon was supposedly going to have a meeting with people on Friday, I guess backstage at SmackDown, to try to better explain the situation and what's going on. I have not heard anything coming out of that alleged meeting, if the meeting even happened. So it's possible in the next few days there'll be word that leaks if there is further clarification on what the hell is going on here. You read AJ's statement, even he sounds like he doesn't know what's going on. He says it himself, he's not sure what the future holds as far as what their plans are for streaming. So I think as much as anything, what's probably bothering these people, and it would bother me too, is that they're still kind of in the dark about why this is happening or exactly what WWE's plans are going forward for their channels. But AJ was not the only one to shut down his Twitch stream. Mia Yim, also very upset, had to, as she said, I think, temporarily, right? This is not permanent, but for now, we have to end this. She did a lot of charity streaming on her channel. Cesaro had to shut down his. Aleister Black and Zelina Vega were very upset. I believe Xavier Woods as well. That was separate from his Up, Up, Down, Down channel on YouTube, which I'm almost positive WWE has a piece of because they promote the damn thing so much. I don't see how they don't have a piece of that already. But I think he may have had a separate Twitch that he also had to either shut down or kind of put on the side here temporarily. But the most outspoken of all of the WWE talents, contracted talents, was Paige, who has a huge following on Twitch, probably the biggest of any of the WWE stars. I've seen estimates, if these are accurate, of what she potentially makes on Twitch. I've seen figures ranging anywhere from $30,000 a month to as much as $50,000 a month. Look, if I was pulling in even 30 grand a month, I wouldn't want to give up my Twitch either. I don't blame her. But Paige got very emotional the other night live on her stream. She ran the gamut of emotions from sadness to anger. I don't know if she's quite reached the acceptance stage yet, but she was all over the place. She was crying at one point. She was in tears. Said that she had gotten to the point where she honestly cannot even deal with this company anymore. That was in reference to WWE. These are some of the comments that she said. I think she may have also set the Guinness World Record for the greatest number of F-bombs dropped in a 2 or 3 minute span. Let me tell you something. My father was a truck driver. He had a very colorful vocabulary. I think even he would blush if he had watched this Paige stream the other night. But yeah, again, when you're very emotional and everything is very raw, it just kind of pours out. I don't know if she's like that on every stream, but anyway, this is what she said. She said, now I have to make a very important decision. She says, I'm effing tired. I broke my effing neck twice for this company. Over effing, I'll just say it, over fucking, why am I censoring myself? Over fucking worked. That I broke my neck twice for this company. They don't realize that this community is not about subs. We build a community and a family where this is an escape for a lot of people, including myself. I can't wrestle anymore. I was worked so hard in WWE that I can't wrestle anymore because my neck is fucked. My dreams got taken away. I had to have something that fulfilled this huge fucking void that I lost with wrestling. I could not wrestle anymore. Something that I have lived and breathed since I was a fetus. And it got ripped away from me. I had to find something I could fill that little bit of that with, and Twitch was a wonderful thing for me. It is such a wonderful place for me. I am an injured wrestler. I get used for media stuff sometimes, but at the end of the day, I am in my house going fucking crazy. And I need something to keep me sane. Twitch was my escape. Right now, I'm just sitting on my ass. People think that I should be thankful that I still have a fucking job. And I am, but it doesn't mean that I should be treated like fucking shit. I had my neck broken and taken away from me twice. You can't take away my Twitch as well. I'm going to keep streaming. We'll see how that goes. What is the pocket change that we are getting compared to the billions that these people are getting? We're not hurting anybody or doing anything harmful. We're just having a good time. People are on YouTube, have merchandise, wrestling schools, and Twitch gets taken down. Now, she also claims that she has spoken to a lawyer about unionization. Now, she has brought up the unionization issue a few times now, although I think it's probably more, and I don't doubt that she's probably spoken to a lawyer about this, but I think this is more just about her being angry. And she's not necessarily going to do anything about it. It could just be her lashing out at the company as a way of saying, hey, back off. Don't go down this road. Don't push me. Which, if that's the case, clearly that hasn't worked. But, she talked multiple times about having broken her neck twice for the company. And I completely understand where she's coming from. This is a woman who was born into the wrestling business. We talk about wrestling families. You think of the Hart family, you think of the Guerreros, you think of the Von Erichs, the Samoan dynasty, the Armstrong family. It's a lot of wrestling families. And the Knight family, over in England, is one of those families. They did a whole movie about them, did a whole documentary about them many years ago. You can find that on YouTube. This is a woman, in Paige, who was wrestling from a very young age. So she was born into the business. It's in her blood. It's part of who she is. And it's probably the only thing that she's ever known and the only thing that she's ever really even imagined doing. Now imagine, you're as young as she is. I don't know how old she is now, but when she broke her neck the first time, she was in her early 20s. And she's not that much older than that now. And she broke her neck. And it's not just that she broke her neck. And I think she finally, she came to the realization that I should not be getting in the ring, to where I think if she was not under contract at WWE, I don't know that she's going to go run off to an independent or some other company and then wrestle. I think she realizes that that would not be a smart thing for her to do physically. Whether or not she has dreams of one day wrestling again, never say never, right? People said Daniel Bryan would never wrestle again. Edge is never going to wrestle again. Both of them came back. And really in both cases, I guess more so it was concussions with Bryan, although he had neck issues as well. Never say never about Paige wrestling again. But the company made it very clear that you're not going to wrestle for us because we are not going to clear you. You are not medically cleared. You will likely never be medically cleared. So imagine you're under contract to this company and you're still a very young person. In your mind, I could still physically go out there and do this. And now the company is telling you, why, wisely, WWE is correct in saying that Not only because you're a liability to us if we allow you back in the ring, but because it could be catastrophic to you and your health. We're not going to allow you to wrestle. So we have you locked under contract, but you can't do the one thing that you've always wanted to do. You can't do the one thing that you love more than anything else in the world. We are telling you, you cannot do that. The answer is no. So what does she do? She goes off and she finds this Twitch thing. And I've seen people saying, oh, what does she do on Twitch? All she does is sit there and answer some questions, but then she just wants subs. And when she says it's not about subs, she's lying. Look, whatever her motivations are, whatever she does on her channel is her business. If there are people out there who are willing to buy subs and support her because they're a fan of hers, then that's their prerogative. And if this woman is bringing in tens of thousands of dollars a month on Twitch, and that is her outlet now, that's her creative outlet, this is what she does to occupy herself because she doesn't know what else to do, and then WWE says, well, we're going to take that away from you. Or, yeah, maybe, we'll take control and maybe you can still stream, but we're going to give you a fraction of what you were making. You still go do all the work, but we're going to take half or more than half of what you were making. If they want to take that away from her, in her mind, they already took one thing away from her. So I totally understand why she would be upset, and I sympathize with her. I agree. I agree with her. It is cruel for WWE to basically say, okay, you can't do this one thing anymore. You got hurt working on our watch, and now we're telling you you're not allowed to do this anymore. But this other thing that you decided to get into, yeah, we want a piece of that too. Or you know what? You can't do that anymore. You could understand why she would be upset. Now, yesterday on her stream, she's still streaming. She struck a little bit of a different tone. She seemed like she was in a better place. But she insisted that she is going to continue streaming. This is what she said. She said, the fact that you guys are so supportive is wonderful and made me feel so much happier and so much better. So yes, I am going to keep doing what I'm doing because, I don't have a lot going on, you guys. I really don't. I feel really happy today because of all the support that was given. I don't have a lot going on. This is really special to me. I'm always one who speaks my mind. It's kind of bittersweet because I can get in trouble for being honest and having an opinion. I like to stand up for what's right. Not just for me, but for everybody. And she went on after that. But that was basically the crux of her message. So I don't know if she had some kind of discussion with anybody in WWE. I'm guessing not. She has made the choice to continue streaming, and let's see what happens. Allegedly, Vince McMahon said that if people don't adhere to the deadline and they continue to do what they're doing, they face the penalty of fines, suspension, or termination. And I think that maybe, her mindset on this may also, and again, I don't think she's wrong on this either. WWE is walking a very thin line here. They're on very thin ice, I think, when it comes to Paige. Because there's a lot of people, I think, who can sympathize with her situation, like I just talked about. We know there's interest from Andrew Yang and certain outside forces who may soon either have power or may have the ear of somebody who has power. And Yang, for example, is a wrestling fan. This is not something I think that he necessarily is going to let go of. So now you've attracted interest from outside forces who are already threatening and making comments about, looking into this and taking action in some way against WWE. Here you have this young woman who can't wrestle anymore. She's streaming on Twitch. And in her mind, maybe she figures, look, what are they going to do to me? Are they going to fire me? Can you imagine the shitstorm if WWE suspended her without pay or fired her? The shitstorm that would kick up for them of bad publicity, of unwanted publicity, because that's all this company is about. It's all about good publicity. It's all about good PR. That would not be very good PR. So maybe she's just, weighing the pros and cons and saying, look, what's the worst that happens? Maybe she doesn't want to quit, but she wouldn't mind if they fired her. I don't know. I don't know how much more money she may be making in WWE than she's making on Twitch. For all I know, she could be making more money on Twitch than she is working for WWE. I would think not, which is why she said the other night, I have a decision to make, If she was making so much more money on Twitch, I don't see there being much of a decision to make. You tell WWE to go fuck off, and you keep streaming. So it could very well be a case where, as well as she's doing on there, WWE, her deal, is more lucrative. I don't know. Only she knows the details of that. The belief is that WWE is planning on entering into a partnership of their own with Twitch, and the talent would receive a percentage. How much of a percentage, we don't know. Doesn't seem like they know either. But it would count against their downside guarantee. I already talked about this last month. That's why a lot of the wrestlers were very upset when they found out it would count against their downside. Now, it makes sense that WWE would not want people using their stage names. I actually agree with that. I understand that. And if Aleister Black was going to stream as Aleister Black, then he can't stream as Aleister Black. He would have to stream under his real name. Same for anybody else. If that was the issue that WWE had, then I actually think that that's completely reasonable, and I understand that. But all this other stuff about, well, it doesn't matter whether you're using your real name or your stage name, even if the language in the contracts that they signed is such that, WWE can legally do this, that doesn't make it right. Just because you can legally do something doesn't make it right. It's wrong. What they are doing is wrong. Now, what do I think WWE has planned here? I think that they're going to launch their own Twitch channel, and a couple of things. Either they would have the one Twitch channel, and they would have a rotating schedule of talent who, at set times during the week, would basically be required to stream, because that was part of the story as well. The way WWE looks at this, and one of the reasons the wrestlers were upset, is that it would count now as work. So not only would they surrender control, creative control of their own channels, and at least some of the revenue they were bringing in, but now it's considered work. And WWE would dictate when they stream and when they don't stream. So I could see the one WWE channel hoping that all these wrestlers will bring all their fans and their subs over to the one consolidated channel, and they would have different people streaming at designated times, and they would get a small cut of that, however they work that out. Or they would allow these people to keep their channels separate, and they would just get a cut from those individual channels. But I mean, the way that Paige, for example, cusses on her channel, I don't see any way that she would last a day streaming on the official WWE Twitch channel. I'm not sure that would really work out. But that's really all we know at this point. I think it sucks, the position they put some of these wrestlers in. I understand that they probably get paid very well by WWE. They probably get paid, especially a guy like AJ Styles, right? I'm sure he's making bank. I'm sure he's making very good money for WWE. But I do think that in a lot of these cases, they may make money off their own channels, but they look at it as an outlet. It's their way of sort of interacting with their fans, and whether they're doing Q&As or playing games, whatever it may be, it's something outside of WWE. It's not dictated by them. It's not scripted by them. You know what I mean? There's no rules and regulations that they have to follow, and now WWE is taking that away from them, and the question becomes, can they do this? Everyone seems to think, well, they can. The language in the contract says that they can. We don't know the language in each of their contracts. There's no language in those contracts that talks about Twitch. So, we're in a bit of uncharted territory here. And my opinion is the same now as it was a month ago. It's nice that Paige seems to be very vocal about this, and she can talk about, unionization. She can mention that all she wants. But, at the end of the day, it's going to take people standing up and having a set of balls on them. I mean, it seems like Paige has bigger balls than most of the men and the other people who work in WWE. Because nobody wants to make a fuss about this and get in trouble or risk their job and stand up publicly and say anything. And it shouldn't just be one person. It shouldn't just be Paige. You should have at least half a dozen people standing up together, banding together and saying, this is bullshit and we're not going to stand for it. You want to fire us? Fire all 6 of us, all 8 of us, all 10 of us. Strength in numbers. And they just don't seem to have the guts to do so. And so as long as they don't want to stand up for themselves, this is the sort of thing that's going to continue to happen. I mean, I have sympathy for someone like Paige, but my sympathy only goes so far. If they're not willing to stand up for themselves, then what the hell are we so concerned about? They've got to want to stand up and say something themselves. Until they do that, nothing is going to change.